Pat Robertson answers these questions from his viewers all the time. In this case, they were worried about all the tornadoes in the country. Is it, I would have asked the question, is it climate change? Is it leading to more extreme weather? Well, I will answer that question later in the program, but they didn't go in that direction. They asked, is it Yahweh? Is it God that is angry with us? I'm curious about Pat Robertson's reaction. Let's watch.
Why did God send the tornadoes?
God didn't send tornadoes. God set up a world in which certain currents interfere and interact with other currents. When you have a warm group of air coming out of the south, coming up against a cold mass that's up in the north, you'll get vortexes, and that in turn will spawn tornadoes. God doesn't send tornadoes to hurt people. He doesn't send, we call them acts of God, but they're not. So all I can say is that why do you build houses in a place where tornadoes are apt to happen? But, the hurricane, for example, is a release mechanism that God set in to take the heat out of this world and to transfer heat around various parts of the globe. It's very necessary. The fact that people decide they want to build houses on the edge of an ocean, it's their fault, it's not God's. It's the same thing with if you're going to build a house in the San Andreas Fault, there's going to be a fault, the earth is faulted, and there are going to be earthquakes. So don't blame God for doing something foolish.
Don't blame God for you being a jackass. Why'd you build a house there? By the way, the twisters hit the Midwest, the entire Midwest. What's the Midwest supposed to do? Are they supposed to move out of the Midwest entirely and they go to the coast? And then a hurricane hits and Pat Robertson calls him a jackass again. What'd you put your house on the coast for? Well, where am I supposed to hide, Pat? But look, he actually started out pretty good. He was talking about storm fronts. I was like, hey, there's a little bit of fact in there. Not bad, Pat. And it seemed like he was trying to stay away from God-centered because he's gotten in trouble before. Because he said Hurricane Katrina, because God was angry with us. 9/11, God's constantly angry with us. I thought, hey, look, he's trying to avoid it. Not bad. Okay. And then he went to, it's God's release mechanism, and you had it coming. Okay, but it gets worse. Let's watch.
But I think the bigger question for people spiritually is always not so much why did God send them, but why didn't he intervene? Don't you think people always ask that question when there's tragedy?
If enough people were praying, he would intervene. You could pray. God, Jesus stilled the storm. You can still storms.
Oh, well. There goes the cold front and the warm front and all that. Well, why didn't you just pray harder? It's your fault for putting your house in the Midwest, and then on top of that, you didn't even pray hard enough. Well, obviously you had it coming. What do you want me to do about it now? Now you're going to go and turn around and blame God. Where were you when before the tornado was coming? Why didn't you still it, Jesus? God damn it, we didn't pray enough.
You know what my question is?
Yes.
Why does God keep sending these natural disasters to the Bible Belt? I mean, why hasn't he smote California with tornadoes and hurricanes and whatever? Why are the good people the ones that are taking the brunt of this?
Yeah, that's the kind of question this lib would ask. Okay, so my question to you is, why has God put it in your spirit to hug all those trees?
Well, God made the trees too. I am the Lorax, I speak for the trees, don't you know?
Okay,
If I don't do it, who else is gonna?
Yeah, that's the kind of pagan this guy is. I pray to the dirt and the grass and such. Okay, that's how this Lorax rolls. But the reality is, don't worry, we got ours coming. Pat Robertson is praying away that one day God's going to send an earthquake, wipe out San Francisco, Los Angeles, and all of us heathens.
Yeah, okay. He was definitely right about the San Andreas Fault. But I bet if you showed on a map the areas of the country that don't believe in climate change the most, those are the ones that are getting hit the hardest right now. Actually, it's ironic.
Lucas, since you find a lot of these articles for the morning meeting, why don't you fish one of those up? There's no way that Alternet or Think Progress hasn't already written that article. Okay, so put some thought behind it.